Okay, viewers, let's see where this all wraps up at in the lost world of AWOL women.
Got in trouble for that. When I got in, and this is terrible, I say I got in trouble. Isn't this crazy? A grown woman gets in trouble by her husband. Now,
it's a little bit crazy when you think about it, that the fact that she let herself get to this stage. I think the problem's more with her than what it is with the husband, in respect to the fact that why has it gotten to this? And she wasn't married to him at that point anyway. She'll tell you that now.
Mind you, at that time we weren't husband and wife yet.
Which is a bit contradictory, isn't it?
We're getting to be that way. You know, we were going to be that way. We're going to be married.
Which is crazy. If everything she's saying is true, he was a drinker, he was a smoker, she didn't like any of it, she's minding his children, she's left the daughter behind, he's a hater, he's a liar, why would she even consider getting married? Would you? No. I've got to go.
My daughter came to visit me, and this is probably the worst. It is. I don't regret anything any worse than this, that I left my 18-year-old daughter home 900 miles away in my home, and I believe she would come with me after she graduated.
So what did she do to the daughter? Viewers? She devalued the daughter. Completely devalued the daughter.
But she wouldn't come. I was that
Of course she wouldn't come. She didn't want anything to do with it.
Devastated me. That's one of the things that when I say is embarrassing, that I have to say this in front of the world. I was so blinded and fogged up that I was wrapped around in this. When he was good,
She was wrapped up in lust. She was deceived by lust. If you want to talk about God, Ephesians 4:22, you were deceived by lust.
the closest relationship, even closer than my husband. My husband was gone all the time because he was an over-the-road driver. But when we were home, we were very close-knit and together. But he surpassed that, you know.
Now, can you imagine if the daughter watches this and she listens to that? There's no coming back from that. This is why these women, they shouldn't have YouTube channels, because they say too much and they wreck everything when after they worry about the consequences later.
The closeness to me, always together. We were always together. And I confused that with love, and really, in reality, it was control. But I confused that with...
it was codependency. It was codependency.
With love. And he would say, your husband, so-and-so, didn't care about you. He didn't care about you. He didn't care where you went. He didn't care what you did. I care. You don't understand that this is love. Excuse me. And so I went through all of that. So
Well, now, she would have liked that at first, but then once she's realised that, this is like this guy with his mother, only now she's becoming the mother. That's how covert emotional incest works. She's going, hang on a sec, this ain't adding up.
Washed. Grief. Loneliness. But I didn't realize I was lonely. The crazy part is I really didn't realize I was lonely because I had spent 2.5 years with nobody but me and Jesus and my motorcycle. I dated, talked to a few guys here or there, but no one could get beyond, this space, this safe space. They couldn't.
Nobody probably wanted to either.
I talked to him, might ride motorcycle with him, have dinner, but nobody could get into that space because I wasn't ready for that. I didn't want anybody in that space. But because I trusted him, and he was an old crush from school, and I grew up with him, and I hadn't seen him in all those years, I felt I could trust him. Anybody else I wouldn't have been able to trust.
She love bombed him. She out and out love bombed him. And she ended up with egg in her face. She went where angels fear to tread. She blindsided herself. She let the devil she knew through the back door. And once she realised who was sitting at the table, she didn't like it. She devalued the situation. She forced herself into it. So if she's forced herself into a love bomb situation, set up everything, left the daughter behind, right? And then realizes she doesn't like this bloke. Who's the covert narcissist, right? Because she's not being honest here. She's being covert. It's her. He's just going about his business, his dirty, rotten habits and all the rest of it. She knew he had them before she started. Right? She's the one devaluing the thing. She's the one with the tail between her legs now. Different story now. That's narcissism. That's the narcissism. She got played. She dumped the daughter, one of the biggest regrets of her life. But she still did it, didn't she? She devalued the daughter. That's narcissism.
So it's hard to really know what somebody is like when you're 900 miles away from them. So it takes time. And sadly, I moved straight in with him, and we were supposed to get married in a month.
And that's the clincher. Who was the one that was racing? Just as much her as him. So to turn around and just say he's a narcissist is a complete misrepresentation of what that thing actually is. Because if he is, she is too, but only she's one step different. She's covert. She was acting in a covert way, which turned around to bite her. Imagine leaving your children behind for a bloke, just like that, with 12 months of school left, knowing they're going to have the most important tests of their lives and everything else, and some bloke, after all those years of give, take, care and share for those children, I'm just going to abandon you right at the most important part of your school life. You don't think, under the pretense of this video, that that's not narcissism? She narcissized the daughter. She devalued the daughter. She left the daughter behind. She's now devaluing the relationship because he don't suit her anymore. Who's the narcissist here?
My daughter come to visit.
And I'd count that as a miracle. I'd never speak to her again.
I spent some time with her. I got in a lot of trouble because I was not home when the kids got off the school bus. And I actually called his mother and called the school and said that the kids would get off the school bus at his mother's house, and then I would go there because I was spending some time with my daughters. I got in a lot of trouble for that. And then,
my question now is, why are you still there? Okay, why are you still there? You can see there's something wrong here. Either she's not completely right in the head, and that's where I'm having to come to. She's completely deceived and self-deceived and deluded, even though she's totally conscious of the situation that she's put herself in. I bet you the daughter was having words with her. Get out of here, Mum, get out of here. She would have been whinging to the daughter.
I'm having to feel like a child in front of my father, telling him I'm sorry. I didn't understand how important it was. I'm sorry that I behaved that way. I will do better. It was always like that.
Crazy. That's crazy.
So embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
Always in trouble.
I don't believe that. Okay, that's exaggerated. If she was always in trouble, what was she still doing there?
Well, my business took me out of town because, again, I'm a face painter and a balloon artist. I had events 900 miles away back in Florida. I make a lot of money when I go do those. I might be gone a weekend, and I make a lot of money, more money than he makes in a week. So I work very hard 2 or 3 days, and I make a good amount of money. So I went back. I'll fast forward to our first 4th of July. I'll skip Memorial Day because that was a disaster as well. That was a disaster. My cousin came to visit, and my cousin and I went on a motorcycle ride, 30-minute ride. He didn't know I rode motorcycles, and, he got a motorcycle ride, and we hadn't seen each other, so we went, on a little ride. I get in trouble for that, and I get told that I am not allowed to leave, that is not the way you host a party. To me, there was a lot of people there, and everybody was having a good time. I just left for 30 minutes to go on a quick ride. We come back, we eat, we socialize, but I got in trouble over that and reprimanded. And
But by this point, I don't think there should be a relationship at all. So why is she continuing?
And so that was that. But
Okay, so who's really, when you think about all this whinging and complaining about how it's all going wrong for her, who's in the wrong here really? She is, because she's not walking away.
So I had all of this. I knew that something wasn't right. This was not the life I was supposed to have. I never experienced anything like this with anybody. So then, 4th of
She's just
July.
getting played. Where is the diagnosis of narcissist coming into this? She's just being played.
I came and I went out of town to go visit. Well, I had a big event, 4th of July. So I packed up my car and went. Now, mind you, I was talking to him the whole time on the phone. And I want you to know that because he couldn't control me and I would not behave, I am somebody who's very strong-headed. I am. So he didn't like that.
There you go. So if she's so strong-headed, right, which is a contradiction given everything that we've heard so far, how has it gotten to where it is now? Okay, all of a sudden has she come to her senses, right? She's not strong-headed. She hasn't been strong-headed so far.
He did not like that about me. He didn't realize that I was that way. I would not let him into my bank account. He didn't like that. He did not like that.
Why would anybody want to go into your bank account? I don't believe that.
And once I got there, I started realizing how much he was interested in my money. We'd go shopping together, go to stores, and he was always acting like a child. He wanted this, he wanted that. Like a 12-year-old kid going through the store. Oh, I want that. Oh, look at that. I'm like...
Well, I'll pay all that because he hasn't left his mother. So now she's his second mother. That's what's going on here. All right? She's now his second mother.
Dude, if you want it, buy it. You don't see me walking around telling you what I want. If I want something, I buy it. But so I was noticing that. So, sorry, I got off track. So he was noticing that this girl is not as easy of a pushover as I think she is. So
I disagree. She has been so far. Whoops.
Decided to flip the script on me, and he broke up with me. We weren't married yet.
Okay, so he's gone for a trauma bond, right? He's given her a shit test.
Because I was dragging my feet. He was pushing to get married, but I was dragging my feet because I noticed some things I didn't like. And so he was pushing. But all of a sudden, he sends me a text message and tells me that he wants to break up. He wants me to move out. And I'm 900 miles away from home. Well, close to that. And that flipped my switch.
That caused a trauma bond. So now she's really at the fork in the road. And watch what happens, guys.
Didn't know how
And
to
girls.
deal with that. I left that event in Tennessee and went to Jacksonville to visit my daughters. My other daughter was in the military. with her husband, so they weren't there. So I visited my youngest daughter. I was such a mess. I was a wreck.
Because that's what she created for herself. That's the gist of the whole story. She's made a mess, not only for herself, for her children, for her parents, and probably for the player as well. She's a mess.
I was on Facebook and I saw I had just gotten into town. I slept, next day wake up, and I see him on Facebook. And he's at somebody's house having a 4th of July party, and there is my camper at their house. They're having a big throwdown for 4th of July, and he had just broke up with me, and he is in my camper. That did not sit
I'll tell you why, because he knew she'd be coming back.
well with me. Something just snapped in my head, and sadly, I had my daughter. God, I'm so embarrassed to have to tell you the things, but I do that so that you will understand what a narcissist does.
Well, who's she talking about? Herself or him? Because to me, it's both of them. Okay, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for her. She's the one that seems to be creating all the mess because she's not being honest about what's going on. She's seeing it all and it's registering in her brain, right? But this woman's trying to deal with herself, not with anybody else.
And if you are anywhere near one and you're thinking somebody might be, please get away. Because I don't want what happened to my family to happen to yours.
But she done it. He didn't do it. Have you noticed it? She done it all, not him.
So I booked a flight I left my car in Florida and I jumped on an airplane and I was back in Indiana within 2 hours. He was at work. My best friend picked me up at the airport. She brought me home. And when I got there, the strangest thing happened. My head was swirling. My camper wasn't there, blah, 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 blah. My motorcycle was there too. So I'm like, is he out riding my motorcycle? So I was in a bunch of emotions going like crazy. So the
basically violated.
Next thing I hear is his phone is going off like crazy. Buzz, 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 and I'm like, I go looking around and his phone was buried underneath some covers on the bed. And so I'm like, well, he left the house without his phone. So I pick up the phone and he didn't lock it. And I see some woman's messages was texting him.
What's that make him? That makes him a player, right?
My heart sank. My heart sank. So I picked up the phone and I start reading the messages. I got sicker and sicker and madder and madder and sicker because his phone was full of messages, and I looked to the date and he started texting this woman within 30 minutes of when I left our home to go to do my event.
So is that a narcissist or a player? Let's get it right. What is it?
And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this.
I've been played. That's what she should have said.
And he was talking to this woman, trying to get her to come over.
So what should she do at this point? What, viewers? She needs to leave. Right? She needs to leave. So I'm going to wrap this one up. I'll do one more after this. There's still a bit to go in this. At this point, as a matter of fact, she should have been gone a long time ago. So she's part of the trouble to sell. Stay safe. Don't get into trouble out there, and I'll see you in the next one.